Hello, UConn, and welcome to another episode of UC Sports. I'm your host, Eddie Leonard, and joined alongside me, I have Brandon Carney today. And Brandon, it's been a pretty exciting week in stores. What's been catching your eye? I know the UConn basketball lottery was this week. Have any luck?
Yeah, no, I didn't get lucky this time around, but you know who did get lucky? The great sports teams here at the University of Connecticut, including the UConn field hockey team. Isn't that right?
Yeah, they certainly did. Well, let's jump right into it then. The UConn field hockey team, the reigning back-to-back national champion Huskies, have continued to remain perfect halfway through the 2015 season with an unblemished 9-0 record. The most recent victory was a 10-0 beatdown on California. Sophomore Charlotte Veitner led the way Sunday, posting her fourth hat trick of the season. Veitner won Big East Conference Player of the Week for the fourth time this season. The win extended the Huskies' 23-game winning streak, which dates back to last season. Our very own Anthony DiBernardo was at the game Sunday to catch up on all the action.
I'm Anthony DiBernardo reporting from Sherman Family Complex, where the UConn field hockey team just defeated California by a score of 10-0. A balanced attack saw multiple players on the field hockey team scoring. Charlotte Veitner contributed a hat trick once again. That's her fourth hat trick on the season. After the game, we were able to talk with head coach Nancy Stevens.
A balanced attack, of course, makes it harder for the opponent to defend, and we had scoring from all areas. And we were particularly excited about our offensive corners today. Attack penalty corners were outstanding. We had quite a few goals off of those. And once you get it, now it's really early to think about postseason, but once you get into postseason, oftentimes the corner goals are what win you championships. So we are really happy that ours are coming together. This was a really good win because Cal Berkeley had beaten Stanford, who was number 9 in the country, and they beat Penn State. So they came in here with two really signature wins, and so for us to win 10-0, neither coach expected that to happen. That was unexpected. But we have a great respect for their program, and it was just our day today.
With the win, the Huskies advanced to 9-0 on the season. UConn hopes to keep that undefeated streak alive next Saturday, October 3rd, when they take on the Villanova Wildcats. From Sherman Family Complex, I'm Anthony DiBernardo, and this is UC Sports.
UConn football is back in action this Saturday, coming off a tough loss against Missouri. The Huskies had gotten off to a hot 2-1 start on the back of their defense, but the Navy midshipmen proved to be too much for this unit to handle this week. My co-anchor Eddie Leonard was at the game. Let's see what he had to say.
I'm Eddie Leonard reporting from Richland Field, where the UConn football team lost its second straight game at the hands of Navy by a final score of 28-18 on Saturday. UConn had 325 yards of total offense, but they were only able to put up 18 points on the board. We had a chance to speak to Bob Diaco after the game about the team's offensive production.
Proud of the way they fought. Proud of them. We can build on that. And there's stuff to talk about and not make it up. Come out the second half, outscore them, 8-7, hold them down, get stops, move the ball. I mean, there's stuff that's really positive to talk about with our guys, with our team. We've got to produce points. We've got to get the ball in the end zone. Touchdowns were not, field goals were not going to get it done today. You needed to score touchdowns.
UConn came out strong early in this game as the Huskies were able to drive down the field on an 8-play, 45-yard drive that resulted in a Bobby Puyol field goal to take a 3-0 lead. However, it was all Navy from there. The UConn defense had no answer for Navy's triple option during the first half of Saturday's game. The midshipmen scored touchdowns on all 3 of their possessions in the first half. Navy was led by senior quarterback Keenan Reynolds. Reynolds had 3 rushing touchdowns in the game, and he connected with Jameer Tillman on a 19-yard passing touchdown in the first half. The 3rd rushing touchdown was Reynolds' 73rd career touchdown. That is 2nd on the NCAA all-time list. UConn's defense was puzzled for most of Saturday's outing. UConn allowed only 126 yards per game heading into Saturday, but they gave up 190 yards in the first half, 90 coming from Reynolds alone. The Huskies trailed 21-10 at the intermission. However, Bob Diaco's Huskies came out more aggressive in the second half, outscoring the midshipmen 8-7, but the tempo was completely controlled by Navy. They had the ball for 11 of the 15 minutes in the third quarter. UConn could simply not stop the triple option the same way they were able to stop Army 2 weeks ago. Navy had 343 total yards of offense and was 8 of 12 on third downs. UConn did have some bright spots during the game behind quarterback Bryant Sheriffs, but they simply did not have the ball long enough in the second half to make a difference. Sheriffs threw for 219 yards and 2 scores. One of his touchdown passes was a 39-yard strike to freshman receiver Tyreek Beals, who had a big showing Saturday, catching 6 passes for 63 yards and a score.
The Huskies will try to bounce back next week as they travel to Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Utah to face BYU. The Cougars will be looking to improve on their 2-2 record after losing their starting quarterback Taysom Hill in the very first game of the season. Heading into next week's tilt, UConn currently sits at 4th in the AAC East because of their 0-1 conference record, but they sit at 2-2 overall, which puts them tied for the second best record in the AAC East.
And speaking of football, let's break down some real football with the UConn men's soccer team. The team is set to host Providence College Wednesday night at 7 p.m. under the lights at Joseph Marone Stadium. UConn enters Wednesday's game matchup with an all-time 32-6-3 record against the Friars, dating back to 1973. Of course, UConn has been a different animal this season. They're an extremely young team that has relied on their defense to keep them afloat. The Huskies are currently riding a 2-game losing streak. Their most recent defeat was a 1-0 road loss to conference rival USF. The Friars also came into Sunday's game fresh off a conference loss to Georgetown on Saturday. One Friar to watch out for is junior forward Max Steeves. Steeves has scored 7 of the team's 10 goals this season and leads the team in points with 14. He ranks 6th in the nation for total number of goals scored. He has scored a goal in every Friar home game this season. Luckily for UConn, though, Wednesday's game is in Connecticut, and UConn goalkeeper Scott Levine has stepped up for this season, registering 4 shutouts on the year. And speaking of UConn standouts, just a quick update around the MLS. Former UConn striker Kyle Larin has been lighting it up for Orlando City. He made history Friday night when he broke the MLS scoring record for rookies with his 14th goal of the year. And believe it or not, the previous record holder was another UConn Husky, Damani Ralph.
Here at UConn, we love to boast about our alumni, so we feel that one of the best baseball players ever to come through stores deserves a mention. Houston Astros center fielder George Springer is hoping to lead his team to their first playoff appearance since 2005. The Astros currently sit 1.5 games back of the Texas Rangers in the AL West. Houston will close their season with 2 more games against the Mariners and then a 3-game set against the Diamondbacks. So good luck to George Springer and the rest of the Astros in their march toward the postseason.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. You look bored. You look like you need a homework break. Do you know what's going on at UConn? Do you want to be entertained? Then go to the UCTV channel 14 at youtube.com. youtube.com/the UCTV channel 14. You're welcome.
Hello and welcome back to UC Sports. Let's get right back into it with women's soccer. The UConn women's soccer team won their most recent game against UCF 3-2. Forward Rachel Hill was the star of the game, notching 2 goals in the contest. Forward Samantha McGuire scored a goal of her own, along with an 80th minute assist to Rachel Hill, who netted the game winner. The Huskies currently sit at 9-2, good for 4th in the conference. Their next game will be on Friday, October 2nd at home against Temple at Joseph J. Marone Stadium.
With first night right around the corner, it is finally time to talk some UConn basketball here at UCTV. And what better way to start the conversation than talking about the UConn women's basketball team's quest for a 4th straight national championship. So the question is, can a Gino Auriemma team get any better? And surprisingly, the answer is yes. And of course, I'm talking about Gino's latest freshman recruit, Katie Lou Samuelson. Samuelson is a 6'3" forward from Hunting Beach, California, and was widely recognized as one of the best recruits in the country. UCTV was able to do a player profile on her. Here's a quick tidbit of that.
In my perspective, that was high school, that I achieved all that and that was awesome, but now I'm a freshman, I'm on the bottom of the totem pole, I got to work my way up. So I think that's kind of been my mentality, and I haven't really put pressure on myself. Obviously, I have goals for myself and I want to succeed, but I don't think I should be given anything or anything like that.
Samuelson talked about adapting to college life and her new teammates, who thought very highly of the 6'3" freshman.
Oh, she's a great shooter. It's easy to find her. She reminds me a lot of Kalina the way she drags in behind and I can kick it back to her. So I'm excited to play with her this year and see what she's got.
I think, the freshmen have been adapting really well. They've been, ever since they've been here in the summer, they were excited to be here, to get started, to, kind of do what this program does.
It's been really good. We've gotten to know each other over the summer, and this preseason we've gotten to know each other's personalities. So I think on the court we really mesh well, and it translates into our game that since we all get along with each other, we really trust each other on the court.
For the full player profile, visit our YouTube page at UCTV Channel 14.
Sticking with basketball, an announcement was made today that could affect the UConn men's basketball team in a big way. The NCAA has banned Southern Methodist University's men's basketball team from the 2016 NCAA tournament and has suspended coach Larry Brown for 30% of the team's games this season due to multiple rules violations. SMU was widely considered to be UConn's biggest competition in the upcoming season. It is not known at this time whether SMU will be banned from the conference tournament as well, but ESPN's Andy Katz describes it as highly unlikely unless SMU wins an appeal of the decision.
Well, that's all we have for today at UC Sports. So now Brandon, a quick fantasy football update with UCTV. I know I'm not a part of the league, but how's your team doing?
Oh, mine's doing great. Gotta attribute this week's win to Steve Smith. Shouts out to you. And I mean, I don't really know what else is happening around the league with the other teams because I don't pay attention to them. They're all peasants who are going to be below me at the end of the season anyway. So, good luck to you guys, I guess, but it's futile in the end.
What's your record right now?
Currently 2-1. There's 2 teams better than me, but I don't expect them to stay.
Who beat you?
Who beat me? I think Casey beat me, one of our producers. So, I mean, yeah.
You'll rebound.
I'm not worried. Not worried at all.
All right, well, that's all we got for today at UC Sports. Tune in next week for more coverage. Thanks, guys.